All right. So, one thing that I haven't talked about since my coming back here to YouTube has been the ousting of James O'Keefe. And I'm pretty sure that I made a video about this when it had originally happened, roughly, because it's been going on over the course of the month. Boy, these weeks go by so fast, man. It's hard to keep up with the days and when the news came out. But yeah, so the recent news came out. Jack Posobiec actually leaked an email internally from actually hold rewind for everybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about here. James O'Keefe is the founder, was the CEO and head of Project Veritas. He's the guy who you always see with the brown, short, little swoopy hair coming in and articulating scenarios before playing us the actual, videos exposing this guy or that guy, doing so on and so forth. He was the guy who read the retractions on the actual YouTube channel. Basically the face of Project Veritas. If you know what Project Veritas is, then you know who James O'Keefe is. Well, over the past month, he's been basically forcibly removed from his position in the company. Yes, the leader, the founder, the owner, because it's a non-profit organization, a 5013C and a 504. It's like two different organizations with two different boards wrapped up into one. And because of those complications, basically it was made so that the board were able to remove him without him having a say-so in the situation. And basically since the beginning, people have been shocked and offended, very upset about this because, like I said, James O'Keefe is Project Veritas, and we're not here to deal with the reasons that they gave, which would be internalized drama, basically infighting among the staff members. And honestly, as a fan of James O'Keefe's Project Veritas, I would much rather see you guys fire any staff member than getting rid of James O'Keefe, unless there was a truly legitimate reason, which they swore up and down that there was, but not originally. Originally, they came out telling us, like I just said, that it was because of co-workers not feeling safe in an environment with James. Okay. They didn't get too much into detail about what that specifically meant until leaked emails and information about the meeting that they had exposed some of the details of some of the grievances. They were bogus. Then Project Veritas tries to come back to the public and say, oh, no. He is being removed from his position because he was defrauding the company. Remember, these are people who originally said that he wasn't being removed. And then there are also people who are saying that, but he is being investigated for being a meanie pants. Well, now all of a sudden he was defrauding the company. And if that was, I'm going to be honest with you. If I ran a company and I had a high-ranking member of the company who was being mean to people and B, defrauding the company, and I had to get rid of him, if I had to give a leading reason as to why I got rid of him, it would be defrauding the company, not being mean to people, because one is objectively more important than the other one to everybody. Doesn't that make sense? I want you to keep that in your mind when you see the things that play forward with this situation. But I say all that to say that, just like I don't buy that, nobody else did either. The donors began immediately demanding that their funds be given back to them because they were donating to the cause and the project that was led by James O'Keefe, not just Project Veritas in name. So we have just recently found that Jack Posobiec leaked a internal email where the leaders of Project Veritas, the board members, were reaching out to their donors, begging them to not withdraw their funds, saying that basically telling them that, oh, James O'Keefe isn't even fired. We can't wait till he returns. And I don't know if this came out before or after that email came out before or after the statement that James released. I would imagine it came out before. I would imagine they were trying to keep all this internalized and didn't expect James to come out and express everything in the way that he did, because on Friday he gave a heartfelt speech, I guess you would call it, to his coworkers in Project Veritas, and it was recorded and released to the public, even though it was, he said several times that it's just strictly for them. But that's the way that Project Veritas, the true Project Veritas, works, is that they know that these are things that the people want to see and deserve to see, because we need to understand what's going on right now. So now that, thankfully, because somebody did leak that internal conversation, and we do have this leaked emails, we can look at the evidence ourselves and say, James is saying this. They're trying to say this about James. Why would James lie about himself? Why would James destroy his company? And of course, as anybody who's paying attention knows, this is not just any time for any company, but Project Veritas just recently uncovered one of the biggest stories in recent United States history, and really the world, when we're talking about the gain of function research that was allegedly, big old allegedly, because we watched a man talk about it being performed at Pfizer. I know YouTube does not want me to talk about this. That's why they took down his original video exposing the person. That's why, because they don't want to go against those Pfizer dollars in a court of law. That makes sense. Pfizer has enough money that the court system doesn't even work anymore. Like, they just buy the courts. So I understand why they don't want to go against them. But this is what Project Veritas was made for. That's like a human training his whole life to be a boxer. All he ever wanted to do was be a boxer, and then he actually has to fight a boxer, a real boxer, a strong boxer. He backs down because he's afraid to lose. So all that stuff that you just did up until now would have been pointless. That's what it's looking like with Project Veritas. Like, they really had a lot of momentum, a lot of steam, a lot of traction that they were gaining on the heels of the biggest story of their life. And boom, kaput. It's crushed mid-investigation based off of internalized drama and defrauding the company all of a sudden. Well, this video is mainly to bring up that new information about the internal, communication to the donors, begging them not to retract their funds, and saying that James is still going to be a part of the company. We now know that that is a lie. We know that they tried to lie to their donors. So honestly, there is really not much recovery that can come back from this, because this was a company that was built off of truth, principle, and integrity. When that goes out the window, there is no reparations. James O'Keefe cannot even go back to Project Veritas at this point, because they've sullied their reputation. And if we were to see James O'Keefe go back to Project Veritas, it would have to be only a name. It would have to be stripped of every person. We would have to know the names of the people who were removed and why they were removed. And we would have to see the new cast and vet them ourselves if we were going to. And I'm just talking about if I was a donor. Because right now, they totally shaking the foundation of what we can think about Project Veritas in general. And it's really not James's fault. That's why it's literally sabotage. The name Project Veritas is no good anymore. So thankfully, he'll do something new. And it'll hopefully be as, if not twice as successful as the Project Veritas endeavors. And I know that I, for one, will be here to fully support him. But for those of you who didn't know that was going on, it's going on. If this is your first time hearing about Project Veritas, boy, get from under that rock that you're living in. And you better go watch as much of their content as you can before it's all gone, because they got some of the best things smoking out here in regards to actual journalism, which is why they have so many enemies. And that's where I'll leave this. You guys have a good morning.